President Trump has long talked about sending in the National Guard to cities run by Democrats, and this past weekend, he actually did it in Los Angeles over the objections of local and state officials. President Trump called up the National Guard in response to protests in the United States' second largest city, which began as a result of federal immigration authorities detaining dozens of individuals that the Department of Homeland Security has said were in the country illegally. On Sunday night, President Trump wrote about the protests on Truth Social. A once great American city, Los Angeles, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. Now violent insurrectionist mobs are swarming and attacking our federal agents to try and stop our deportation operations. But these lawless riots only strengthen our resolve. The president has directed the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and Attorney General Pam Bondi to take all such necessary actions to put an end to the rioting. What that means exactly is unclear. President Trump's use of the National Guard, according to the New York Times, is the first time since 1965 that a president has deployed the National Guard to a state over the objections of the state's governor. In 1965, President Lyndon Johnson sent in the National Guard to Alabama to protect protesters fighting for civil rights. The governor of Alabama at the time, George Wallace, was a well-known segregationist. Here in 2025, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has objected to Trump's decision, writing, "I have formally requested the Trump administration rescind their unlawful deployment of troops in Los Angeles County and return them to my command. We didn't have a problem until Trump got involved. This is a serious breach of state sovereignty." Depending on what President Trump directs the National Guard in California to actually do, will likely determine what legal challenges may occur going forward. The Posse Comitatus Act of 1878 generally prohibits the military to be deployed on U.S. soil for law enforcement. There are some exceptions, however, to that statute, including the Insurrection Act, which does allow the president to use the military. The president did not use the Insurrection Act, though, to justify his actions in California over the weekend. He used what's known as Title X authority, which puts him atop the chain of command of the California National Guard. Legal action between California and the Trump administration is expected. Joe St. George, Scripps News Group, Washington.